All right, we're going to go ahead and get started because we do have some things to cover. I'm going to ask everybody to mute their microphone, please, just because that will help cut down on a lot of the background noise. So if you can mute your microphone. If you have a question, feel free to type it into the chat, and Amy's going to help me kind of monitor that a little bit. I did see Chris had a question in the chat earlier about a lot of teachers are going to be doing a large share of their teaching live on Zoom, and he was just kind of wondering what our thoughts on that were. I'll be honest with you, that's been a topic of discussion in terms of expectations with the district task force. I don't know that we have an answer for it. I'm hoping that we have the ability to at least do some live teaching on Zoom, with the caveat that we would be able to record it and then offer it later for students to see. I don't think it's going to be a mandate that we teach live and in person while we're teaching in our classes or anything like that. But like I said, I'm personally hoping that we have the ability to do more of that than we were able to in the spring. So. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. One of the things that I'm going to ask you guys to do, based on the survey that we did, I'm going to skip kind of some of the preliminary stuff. So if you're feeling a little lost or you're wanting me to slow down or something like that, please, 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 feel free to type that in the chat and say, how did you do that? But I can also hang out after this is over, maybe to answer a couple of questions. That way, if you're feeling like, oh, I need a little bit more basic stuff, certainly we have the knowledge base that's available that Peter sent out last week, and we can share again, that you can see some great tutorials. Zoom has a wonderful, wonderful tutorial support center, and they have all kinds of videos on kind of getting set up and basics. The big things that I wanted to cover today that we had the most interest in based on the survey were how to use breakout rooms effectively, and then how to use some of the ancillary tools like the whiteboard, the annotation features, document camera, things like that. So what I wanted to do is I'm going to go ahead and start talking a little bit about breakout rooms. One of the unfortunate things about Zoom is that when you screen share, you actually can't see any of the tools that Zoom is using. So what I did is I went through and I worked on just screenshots of everything so you could see exactly what I would see when I'm doing it. So I'll explain to you what I'm doing, I'll show you a screenshot of it, and then I'll take you through the process. The first thing that I want to let you know is that if you do intend to use breakout rooms, you need to enable them in settings. So I'm going to show you how to do that. That you can actually see as I do it live. So give me just a second to get that set up, and I will share my screen with you. Okay. So when you go into zoom.us, this is where you'll do your initial sign in. If you've never done this before, you just go ahead and sign in with your Google account. Since I'm already signed in, I don't have the little sign in button on the right hand side, but if I click on my account right there, it's going to take me to all of my settings. This is how I can schedule a meeting, join a meeting, host a meeting, all of those kinds of great things. But where I'm headed right here is the settings. The settings have all of the things that are going to be really helpful for your meeting. Most of the settings, though, you want to make sure that you check ahead of time, because if you change a setting during the middle of the meeting, it won't always change it until your next meeting. So the waiting room has been automatically enabled for all meetings from here on out for education purposes. That's so that you can allow people in. For our meeting here, I think, Amy, I don't think we have the waiting room set up for this meeting. You turned it off?
Yeah, so I go into the settings and I take that off when I have these trainings, because I don't want to have to.
Right, but definitely for your students, you're going to want to enable that waiting room. But if you scroll down through all of the different things, one of the things that people had mentioned was whether or not videos will be on. If you click this little button here, the participant video will automatically start unless they turn it off when they're joining. So if you're trying to encourage student participation in video, that might be a good setting for you to click on. And then you can also mute participant entry. Mute participants upon entry. This little feature right here, a couple people asked about the chat feature. So when you chat, this chat feature right here allows people to type into the chat box, and the private chat allows people to individually chat with each other. If you want to disable that feature, so that way the chat has to get broadcast over the whole chat, you can do that. For those of you that have been going to the webinars that the school board hosted, they only allowed you to send a message directly to the panelists or to the panelists and everybody. They had disabled the private chat feature on that. So as you go through here, I'm just going to scroll down until we get to breakout rooms. You're going to want to make sure you enable annotation and whiteboard, and I'm going to show you what those look like in just a moment. When you go to, like I said, if you're going to want to use breakout rooms, just make sure that it's enabled ahead of time. There is a feature that allows the host to assign participants to a breakout room, but the only way that that works is if you actually schedule participants ahead of time. So if you make students register for the Zoom session, which I've never done that before. I know Brenda's done that. She's had people register if you're doing a professional development or something, but I've just never had the need for that. So I don't typically schedule them ahead of time. Chris mentioned that kids at the high school are sometimes pretty shy about having their video on. I don't think I need them to have their video on. I like to encourage it. It's certainly good for class culture, but at the same time, a student might be embarrassed about their background if they don't know how to change it, or they might, especially if their internet connection is poor, if you turn your video off, sometimes your Zoom will work better because it's not trying to transfer so much data. So I certainly don't insist on it. I don't know that that hasn't been set as a district-wide expectation. I know it's still being talked about. But as of right now, like I said, I personally don't force my kids to turn their video on. But sometimes I play games with them that forces them to turn their video on. We'll play Pictionary on our whiteboard, and then they'll turn their video on for that. And then sometimes they'll leave it on after that. So like I said, once your breakout room is enabled, that's going to allow you to use breakout rooms during the session. So let me go ahead and stop sharing here. And what I'm going to do is pull up my screenshot so you can see exactly what it looks like. Okay. Actually, let me do this really quick. One of the advanced features when you're screen sharing can be to share a portion of your screen at a time. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a portion of my screen just so that you don't see, because I don't want to be in presentation mode. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, so using breakout rooms. So the way that breakout rooms are set up, in the bottom corner of your screen, or the bottom thing where you see your video and your audio controls, if you are the host of a meeting and you've enabled breakout rooms, that's where you're going to see that category. Okay, so that's going to be down at the bottom of your screen. And when you click on breakout rooms, you're going to see a little screen that's going to pop up like this. It's going to ask you whether you want to automatically assign people to a breakout room or manually assign people to a breakout room. Now, like I said, you guys won't see that option because you're not hosting this meeting, but it is on my screen. I typically tend to automatically assign people to breakout rooms, and then I can always move them from one breakout room to another if I need to. So you're gonna say however many, it'll tell you how many participants you have. It does not assign the host to a breakout room. So if you're a host, you're not going to be automatically assigned to a room. Here to choose how many breakout rooms you want to create, and then you create those breakout rooms. Once you do that, you're going to see something that looks like this. It's going to show you, I chose to automatically
Can you guys hear her? Okay. She'll be back. She does this sometimes.
Just like it happens to us when we're with our kids.
Alrighty.
Don't leave.
I know. Can you also, it's funny, it says that I'm the host, but screen sharing is disabled. Are you able to enable it?
It says you're the host.
Well, I just got a message that said I'm the host now, but it also says the host
Okay.
has disabled screen sharing, so I'm not able to.
Okay, all participants can share also. I got
You
kicked
might have
out
to
too.
take those. Oh, there we go. Okay, great. Thanks. Awesome. Okay, so let me go ahead and oops, change this box up here real fast.
You know, that may be a good thing to go over with students right away. If I get kicked out, I'll be back in just a few seconds. Wait, you know, don't.
That is so true. If you suddenly get a message that says you're the new host, that's what's going on. I've been kicked out because of my internet. So like I said, when you pull up these breakout rooms, you'll see the people that are in the breakout rooms. You can move them from breakout room to breakout room if you'd like to. You're also going to have the ability, if you notice up here by the breakout room, it says join. So you'll have the ability, these controls will stay up after the participants go to a breakout room. And what you'll see is still the list of the breakout rooms, as well as the little thing here to join. So you can join at any time, any breakout room, and you can just switch from breakout room to breakout room. As you're going through and clicking these, the next thing that you're going to see is advanced breakout room options. Most of these, to be honest with you, I don't set. What I do think is nice is closing the breakout room automatically. So if you want to set a timer for yourself, maybe 5 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever it is, you can set the timer to automatically close the breakout room after 2 minutes, you know, or 5 minutes or whatever. And then you can also set a countdown clock for them so that they can see how much time they have left. What's nice about breakout rooms is that you have the ability to send messages to every person who's in a breakout room. So when the students are in breakout rooms, you have this little screenshot that says you can broadcast a message to all. So when I had Amy and Peter and Jenna in a breakout room earlier, I simply typed in a message that I wanted everybody to hear. Hey, everybody, turn to page 432, and they'll see that. They'll get that message broadcast in their breakout room. So I don't have to go to each individual breakout room and give them those messages. All right, let me check the chat real quick. Or Amy, are you keeping an eye on the chat for me? That would be
Yeah,
great.
I'm answering a few of the questions there.
Okay, fantastic.
Well.
And if you need to interrupt me at all, feel
Okay.
free. Okay, the other feature that's really nice about breakout rooms, and we are going to actually go into them in just a second, is that students have the ability to ask for your help. If a kid gets into a breakout room and they're not sure what they're supposed to be doing, or they need you to come in, help them solve a problem, at the bottom of their screen, if they're using a computer, they're going to have a little button that says ask for help. If they're on their phone, it looks a little bit different. So this picture is what it looks like if they're on a computer. If they're on a phone, they'll have the little button in the upper left-hand corner that says ask for help. But once they push that button, you will get a message that displays across your computer screen that says, whoever in breakout room, whatever, asks for your help, and you have the ability to join the breakout room immediately or click later. And that message is going to pop up to you whether you are back on the main screen or even if you're in another breakout room. And then this is something that you'd want to let your students know at any point they have the ability to leave a breakout room. I think for elementary school students, probably you would have adults in breakout rooms. At some at the high school and the middle school, you don't necessarily need an adult in each breakout room, but students should know that if for whatever reason there's something in the breakout room they're not comfortable with, they can leave that room at any moment and return back to the original class. This is in the same place that it would be where the end meeting or leave meeting would be. When they're in a breakout room, it'll say leave room instead of leave meeting. All right, that's kind of the basics behind breakout rooms. Amy, are there any questions I need to take care of before I send them into breakout rooms for a moment?
Chris was asking about spying on the breakout rooms, and I was just in the chat letting them know that you can go into them, but they'll know that you're there. And then
Yes.
Also, it's probably important to know that when you're recording your sessions, it's not recording the individual breakout rooms.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if I'm recording this session, what's being recorded is the view that I'm seeing. So if I go into breakout room 2, it will record breakout room 2 while I'm in there. But once I leave breakout room 2 and go into breakout room 3, it will no longer record breakout room 2. Now it will record breakout room 3. And Amy's absolutely right. They're going to know that I'm in there. There's no way, there's no omniscient be able to see what's happening in breakout rooms if you're not in the breakout rooms.
And Christy's asking about what it looks like in an iPad window, and I have no idea. I can't help with that one.
Are you asking about the help feature? Which part in the
yes, she says yes.
Okay, you know, I don't know the answer to that question, but I actually have my iPad on here and I will join this video in a second and take a look and let you know. What I'm gonna do is send you into some breakout rooms real fast, just so you can see what it looks like from a student perspective. You can play around with the little help feature. And we'll just set a really quick timer for these breakout rooms, say 2 minutes, and go from there. So.
And Kelly, will you add like a message so they can see what it looks like when you?
Yes, absolutely. You're back as the host though, if you can go ahead and enable the breakout rooms.
Oh, you are host again.
I'm the host again. Okay, so I'll take you to some breakout rooms. Great, we'll put, we have 21 participants. I'm just gonna put you in 4 breakout rooms and create those. When I hit the open all rooms button, you guys will get a message to move to those breakout rooms. Go ahead and do that. And then I will broadcast a message so you can see what it looks like when I broadcast that message. If you want to ask for help, otherwise talk amongst yourselves. Maybe in a small group, you can just say how you might see yourself using these in your classroom.
How's it going, Amy?
Hi, guys.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
How's everyone doing?
Whoop, whoop.
Pretty good.
Doing pretty well. Staying cool.
Good.
Living in Zoomlandia.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Are you at home, Haley? Are you on a
Olivia, I'm taking like I'm doing my Zoomlandia outside.
There's a message at the top there.
Oh.
Kelly pushed a message. And
Okay.
so it only stays there for a moment. See, it's gone. And you may want to ask her if she controls how long that message has popped up there, because I've not used breakout rooms.
Okay.
But you can remind them what why they're here. You need to.
I've never used it before, but it would be great to use in music. I could see 101 different ways to utilize that. I mean, if we're practicing a song or something, small groups of kids could get together. So it's,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I think it'll work.
Cool feature. We'll definitely play around with.
Yeah.
It's going to be, I think, important because of some of the SEL things that we need to be focusing on is allowing kids to work cooperatively.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that this may be a good tool to get them to have these moments to talk with people outside of their family and their teacher.
Yeah.
Kind of forces them to have to talk with others. So
Yeah.
even, just for, what is this she sent to me? Are you all seeing this thing or just me?
Just you, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think she got kicked out again. And she made me the host again, which is happening a lot in this meeting.
Tag
I'm going
her
to close
Amy.
all rooms because
There we are.
I don't know
Okay,
what happened.
59
So you're
seconds.
going to be sent back, but you can always just leave early. If you leave the breakout room, it will take you back to the main room, and that's what I'm going to do right now.
Hi, Kelly Duran. I see you on my screen, so I was just saying hi. Well, there's a whole bunch of people. I'm on my phone, sorry.
It is. Hi, Haley. What are you doing?
I'm taking a break outside while Olivia is swinging.
Nice.
Yeah. Getting some vitamin D.
Perfect.
Kelly,
Hello.
did you get kicked off again?
You know what I did actually? It was really, I was so excited to check on my iPad, but when I checked on my iPad, it's the same account. And so it booted me off that one and put me on that one. Oh, you know.
Okay, because I all of a sudden got all the breakout room info and I was like, did she send it to you?
Oh, I can't hear you anymore.
Hear me now?
You are super, super quiet.
Let me change my microphone.
Definitely not used to that.
I know. In our district meeting, somebody said I
Shut up. Can you hear me now?
Oh boy, I can hear you.
Okay. Are there any questions about breakout rooms before we go on and talk about annotations? Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and let's just talk about some advanced screen sharing options because I know everybody was interested in the annotation feature and in the whiteboard feature. So I'm going to share my screen again. When you go to your screen sharing, actually, let me do this first. There we go. Okay, when you go to your screen sharing, you have a couple of options. Either this is one participant can share, you can allow multiple people to share at the same time. You can also change whether only the host can share or whether participants can share. So if you want your students to be able to share screens, you want to make sure that all participants is clicked here. But probably you want to have the host enabled so when someone else is sharing, they can't interrupt each other, only you can interrupt them. All right, so when you go to screen sharing, the way that it looks is down here on the very bottom, you have that little green button that says screen share, and there's the little arrow on the side of it. When you pull up the screen share, you're gonna have options. This first option is your desktop right here. For those of you that are interested in using the whiteboard feature, you have a whiteboard feature right there. If you would like to use a document camera, I personally use my iPhone and I connect it via cable. But if you don't have a Mac, that option is really difficult if you're not using a Mac computer. Most of you will probably use your document cameras from the school. So I'll show you how to do that in a second. So if you were to click on the whiteboard here, what happens is that a whiteboard feature will actually pop up. And then you have the ability to annotate the whiteboard. There's 3 different things here that I want you to see. So when you first click on the whiteboard feature, you're going to get this top screen right here. It shows that you're screen sharing the whiteboard and you have the ability to stop sharing. This is the button right here where you click to annotate it. The nice thing is you can actually annotate any screen that you're sharing. So earlier, Amy had her email pulled up and she was annotating and we were drawing all over it. So it doesn't have to be a whiteboard. You can annotate any slide. You can annotate Google Slides. You can annotate a picture, anything that you want to do. If you wanted to have the kids point to something, you're showing them a picture, you know, point to the hand, point to the eye. If you're doing this in another language, you could be, you know, they can be drawing all over it. Now, when you click on this annotate, you're going to have a tool bar that will pop up. A lot of times this toolbar hides itself. So sometimes you just have to move your cursor up or down to find it again. If you are not using the whiteboard and you click on the more over here, this is the screen that you're going to see and you can click the annotate right there. Okay, so I want to show you really quick. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing this. So I'm going to show you what that whiteboard looks like. If you have a touch screen, so here's the whiteboard that pops up. You can draw all over it. This is, I would use this to, you know, do math things. I know that's probably either Amy or Peter. That's Amy that's doing that. I want to show you guys, you have a couple of options. You can clear this. In your annotation toolbar, you have a little trash can. And when you go to clear, you can either clear just my drawings, if you'd like to do that. You can clear viewers' drawings if you'd like to do that. So if you have a kid that's writing all over it and you just want to clear theirs and not your own, you can clear just viewer drawings. Or you can clear all the drawings. And you also have the option to save any of those annotations that you're making. All right.
I have to go and open the other meeting.
Oh, sure. Okay. We're going to be done with this in just a minute. So we'll see you in a second.
And
Okay?
yeah, I will wait an extra 5 or 10
Perfect.
minutes in case any of these people are coming.
Yeah. All I'm going to show really quick right now is the screenshot on how to do a doc cam. And then I'll be available for questions later.
Okay.
Great. Thanks, Amy. Appreciate it. Okay. So the last thing that I want to